What is up, guys? It is the Sound Alchemist back at it again to bring you 40 facts on the Warhammer 40k universe. This time we'll be continuing the Space Wolves theme as we get into the lore of Arjack Rockfist, aka the Man Mountain, aka the Anvil of Fenris. So anyway, this guy is pretty badass. He reminds me of a mix between Thor and the Mountain from Game of Thrones. So you could already tell this guy is badass in every way. He's pretty good on the tabletop, at least he was back in, what was it that I played with him, 6th edition, maybe? Maybe it was 5th, I don't remember. But anyway, we'll have to wait and see to see what 8th edition brings to this guy. So here is 40 facts on Arjack Rockfist. A foe that hides in the dark and strikes when your back is turned deserves no respect. Only the hard face of my hammer is good enough for those cowards. Arjack Rockfist during the invasion of Midgardia. Arjack Rockfist's life began as a blacksmith of the Bearclaw tribe. He was a renowned giant of a man possessed with instrumental strength. Though he spoke very little, he was no mere simpleton. When he was elevated to the ranks of the Sky Warriors, he missed his Iron Priest brethren, and he someday hoped to revisit his former life at the furnace. But any who witness his legendary rampages in the heat of battle know that Arjack's true skills lie not at the forge, but at war. During a particularly hot year, the Iron Priests of the Bearclaw tribe were too busy tending their forges to recognize the dire potence of an imminent attack. For algae covered the shores of the Iron Isles, and around each volcano, the vegetation had grown to surreal proportions. Not all the monsters that live in the oceans of Fenris are confined to the briny depths. 1,000 kraken spawn boiled out of the seas of Fenris, and soon the Brotherhood of the Iron Isles found themselves sorely pressed. Left with no other choice, the senior Iron Priest, Hengist Blackhand, ordered the vault sealed against the tides of creatures, trapping hundreds of good men outside on the volcano slopes. Rockfist did not agree with Hengist's decision, and he wasted little time on words as he smashed his way out of the vaults with his warhammer, and he forced open an escape route for those caught in the path of the alien tide. Almost all of the trapped men made it inside, but the last dozen Iron Priests turned and stood with Rockfist to bar the vaults one more, setting their feet firmly as the first wave of alien horrors struck. Less than 2 hours later, the skies above the Iron Isles were filled with hundreds of Thunderhawk gunships. Those within could see the entire archipelago was teeming with kraken things, except for one exception. A lone figure surrounded by a black carapace monsters, and the crackling blue arcs of a thunderhammer in full swing. Logan Grimnar and his men joined the raging battle below, and with the help of the other great companies, drove the kraken spawn back into the deep sea. Arjack's body was dug out from under a mountain of chitin and scythed limbs, still plunging the entrance to the vaults. He was given to the chapter's wolf priest, who brought him back from the threshold of Mordecai's realm. So impressed was he by the Fenrisian warder's incredible display of strength and resilience that Arjack was made the Great Wolf's champion on the spot. Since that day, Arjack has earned his place in Logan Grimnar's Wolf Guard a dozen times over, his hammer never resting for long. Despite his modesty, not even Arjack can deny that he has a rare gift for crushing the mightiest of foes. After that day, Logan Grimnar not only commands the utmost respect for those that fight for him, but as the Great Wolf, he takes to war at the head of the greatest warriors in the entire chapter. His collection of mighty heroes is known as the King's Guard, and they are Grimnar's personal bodyguard, tasked with his protection on the battlefield. As Grimnar's champion, Arjack Rockfist traditionally leads the King's Guard alongside his liege lord. At the head of the foremost chapter, Grimnar advances into the heart of fighting, extolling his men to ever greater deeds of heroism, with hearty bellows of encouragement as they carve through their enemies. Arjack is indeed a legend among the King's Guard, and when not fighting directly at his lord's side as part of his Wolf Guard, he can be found accompanying formations of assault-minded Terminators, equipped with storm shields and thunderhammers. when joined by their High King, the Shield Brothers as they are known, close the ranks around the Great Wolf to form an impenetrable wall of lightning-wreathed ceramite. Where one blow lands, 2 shields are raised to meet it. Where brutal overhead blows come crashing down upon the skulls of those foolish enough to test the strength of these elite Wolf Guard. On the offensive, the Terminators were advanced in a tight wedge formation, driving their way through the enemies like the prow of an armored ship. Those not pulverized by their warhammers are crushed by their arcing shields and heavy ceramite boots. And now let us go into the war gear of Arjack Rockfist, starting with his Terminator armor. Arjack wears a suit of standard Indominus pattern tactical dreadnought armor. The Anvil Shield. The Anvil Shield is an immense storm shield that Arjack utilizes both as an impenetrable defense and as a convenient additional weapon to knock down and barter foes away from him in battle. This powered slab of adamantium-laced obstinate has crushed the skulls of a score of many enemy warlords. And finally we have Foehammer. Arjack uses a rune-etched thunderhammer known to all as Forehammer. Arjack is physically formidable enough to throw the thunderhammer a decent distance, using the massive close-quarter weapon as a form of range attack. When his weapon leaves Arjack's massive fist, its inbuilt teleporter device ensures it will quickly return to its gauntlet, ready to be used again. And with that concludes yet another episode of 40 Facts. Let me know what you guys thought about Arjack. Was he indeed as badass as you guys thought he was? If not, try him out in 8th edition and see how he does. Now, I really like this story because mostly we hear about Space Marines fighting Chaos, Xenos, and whatnot, but this time they're fighting freaking Kraken, giant squids. So, take that how you guys want it, but in my mind, that just looks pretty badass. Let me know what other guys you guys want me to cover. Is it another Space Wolf? Maybe we'll move on to some Xenos, because we have been covering a lot of Space Marines lately. Anyway, let me know all your suggestions down below in the comments. Don't forget to check us out on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and Patreon for more 40k content. And that's all I got for you guys today. I'll catch you guys tomorrow, and as always, I am the Sound Alchemist, part of One Mind Syndicate, and I am signing out.